Hi, I'm Alec.
Hi, I'm Shan. Welcome to
Uh,
Alec's live feed.
yeah. So I call this the Wave,
Okay, so welcome to the
and
wave.
it's just kind of about anything and everything.
Why wave specifically?
Wave because waves, because frequencies. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
whole the whole
I
universe
was
is just
thinking
a
about
wave.
you. I was just thinking about you yesterday only, and I was like, you are the only person I know who is like equally into wealth creation and all that, which usually people call materialistic stuff, and you're equally into. Uh, I think you told me like you are also, or you have been through this whole shamanic process. You have also been a shaman in the past, and you have been through all those frequencies, and you're also very spiritual. So, how do you kind of like integrate these two totally separate worlds?
That's a great question. I think you can't help it. You are those things, and then people kind of focus on one or the other, but it's like an equation.
Hmm. So, but talking to you also, it feels like that being more, your frequencies being more aligned and you're being more spiritual has helped in your wealth creation process. So I don't think like most people understand that how that will gonna impact this aspect of life. Like nobody,
Well,
I haven't seen anybody meditating for wealth creation, right? So,
well, I mean, Buddhist monks or whatever, they say that everything is meditation. Everything is
mm,
meditation. So, a lot of the wealthy people I know,
mm,
they meditate every day.
okay. Is there a specific purpose, or just to get their thinking straight?
Well, I mean, there's all different kinds of meditation, right?
Mm, right.
So, I mean, for me, meditation is like a good opportunity to kind of shed patterns, like reactions,
Mm,
habits that are bad habits, how you react, and then get into a place of proactivity.
mm,
So you're making mindful decisions throughout your day. That's intentional.
okay. Like shed habits, like you are kind of leaving behind the old habits or untangling the old thought patterns, and uh, because in investing, as far as I have read, like although I told you like I'm in this aspect, I'm in very base. That's why I ask very stupid simple questions because I myself, in when it comes to wealth creation, is like in very base, like uh, close to employment, right? So I'm just catching up. so so basically, as far as I have read about investing, it's all about having a clear thinking. The more muddied your thinking is, the more like the bad investor you will be. So can you talk a little bit about how you became, because I consider you as a pretty clear thinker, although obviously uh, I don't agree with you on everything, but but I do respect everything you say, because obviously I am not as clear thinker as you are. So why will I agree? But I always consider whatever is coming from you. I always consider it, even every recommendation, even I'm disagreeing with anything. I'll go and I'll look and I'll just challenge my own thinking by looking at your thinking. So how you made your thinking like this clear, or is there a practice or some tool, psychological tool you use to think more clearly?
Yeah,
And especially
great
like
question.
to add this, to add to this, specifically living in this world, we are like overfed with information, and everybody is like saying something and somebody is just contradicting that thought, and we are kind of always influenced by one thing or the other, right? So
Yeah, so great question. And it's true, our world that we live in is very stimulating, right?
mm,
Um, I learned lots of stuff from lots of people, lots of sources, right? Here in Canada, there's a lot of Christianity. So you're not going to grow up here without being exposed to people of faith who focus on religion. So their spirituality is a part of life. There's a lot of resistance to specifically Christianity. But then when I moved into Ottawa out of a small town nearby, I was exposed to world religions like firsthand. And you see like a thread through all the different belief systems.
mm,
That's pretty much just common sense. Like treat other people
mhm,
as you want to be treated. And when you meet people that have what I would call like spiritual energy,
mm,
um, there's all kinds of people I've met in my life like that, and they meditate, they pray, so to speak. You know, they visualize, they work towards things, they try to think. You know, like thinking is in itself a challenging activity, and
that's the
meditating
thing.
is to try to like regulate your thinking so that you're in
Mm.
control.
You're in control of your own thoughts, or you are kind of, as they call, disconnected with your own thinking. Which one is that?
Well, I mean, if you're going to be disconnected from it, you should be
Mm.
aware of it.
Ah,
Because if you're unaware of your thinking, like
mm.
you're in the monkey mind, you're just going
Right.
with whatever comes up,
Mm.
uh, and you disconnect from your thinking, then you might feel crazy because you're looking at it and you don't know what it
Mm.
is, you know?
Yeah, suppose I'm sitting in a meditative state and I'm watching my own thoughts. I've found, maybe you said that the analogy of clouds, like watch your thoughts as clouds, let them pass by. But that's fine. Okay, I understand. Like I am not my thinking and all that. But when I'm out there in the world, when I'm engaging with the world, then I have to like come from a place of my thinking, right? And that's where I think like you also said like learn about the world, so you also increase your understanding of the world, right? So
Yeah,
how do you like,
so
yeah.
you can only do what you understand. You know, they say knowledge is power, but it's the application of knowledge that's actually power, right?
Ah,
Knowledge is
right,
like
right.
potential power,
Hmm.
but the application of it, you actually have to do something. You're applying energy, you're proactive, you're
Hmm.
productive, right? It's a process. And when you do that process, you're using the tools that you have. So that's why there's a lot of like people say like keep reading, keep learning, keep studying, keep
Hmm.
trying, keep failing, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's the process of applying your knowledge. So you have to get the
Hmm.
knowledge, and you have to use the knowledge to get experience, because that experience builds confidence, and that
Hmm.
confidence fuels the whole equation. It's like a cycle,
Ah,
success
yeah.
cycle.
Hmm. To sum up the like topic of this conversation is kind of, it's going in a way of changing your being more aware of your mind and being like changing your own mind. So how often do you change your mind?
It depends, probably hundreds of times a day, but it depends on the subject,
Hmm.
right?
It depends on the
Because
subject.
I deal with all kinds of stuff. Like I'm a dad, I'm a partner,
Hmm.
I'm a business associate, I'm a director of different companies. Like
Hmm.
When I'm in each situation, I have to make decisions. And when I get new information, you have to choose, am I going to reevaluate my decision or not?
Hmm.
And that's a
Yeah.
decision. If you don't change your decision, that's a decision.
Yeah, because when I asked you like earlier, like what's the best tip or advice you will give on decision making, you said don't decide. And I have started applying that, and it's a fabulous advice when I go to restaurants or when I'm buying clothes. Like for example, I have decided like I have it's kind of a costume which I have decided for myself. It's like these like t-shirts and all those kind of stuff, and I just buy those things again and again. So I don't make like stupid decisions all the time. Like I'm not deciding what I have to buy, what I have to wear, what I have to eat, and all that. But suppose I'm like I'll give you one of the examples. Suppose I'm a meat eater. Okay, and I'm finding evidence in the world now that okay, plant-based diet is kind of more efficient for the human body, and I'm also developing this kind of inner compassion in myself that I should switch to plants. Okay, but uh, as I'm not deciding, so when I'm going to a restaurant, I'm just doing that. So if you will find these kinds of evidence, if you will start finding these kinds of evidence which are contradicting which you are thinking, so how you handle that? Because for most
Well,
people, I think it's kind of a filter which most people apply when they move in the world, that they just reject contradictory advice, and that's also in a way harmful, right? Because you'll never grow that way.
yeah, well, you need to have a filter because there's a ton of contradictory information in the world. And, I like to think that there isn't necessarily like a better method or process to live life. There's more effective ones. You want to be effective in different ways.
Um,
But like morally, it's hard to say because like we're just animals in nature,
hmm.
and nature,
It's
has
so fascinating
rules.
what you just said. Yeah. I think this is the thing like which we have a hard time to understand. Like we think like our way is the best best way to conduct life. And you're saying is like there is no right or wrong way, but there can be an effective way and there can be a non-effective way.
Yeah, so if you're like and I think it's very important to point to nature because we are nature. We
Yeah.
have nature. We are a part of the ecosystem,
Mm.
um, which is interesting. But when you think about like a tiger, there's a difference between an effective tiger and an ineffective tiger, right? They have to hunt. They have to, you know, be the apex predator of their environment to survive,
Mm.
essentially. So, what's one thing that I heard recently that I loved was that like humans weren't designed for success. We were designed for survival. And success is
Mm.
actually
That's
the
good.
opposite of survival.
But uh, I think like survival is kind of in a way success when you are like surviving. For many people, like it's like in my life for a long time, survival has been kind of a like I'm waking up, okay, I'm hugely depressed, I don't want to do anything in my life, so just waking up and going to washroom, taking a bath, then doing a workout is like a it's like a huge win. And then having those wins on repeat every day. So that what I'm seeing is like when I'm having those wins on repeat every day, so that kind of is slowly leading me towards a bigger success.
Yeah, you gotta understand the power of compounding, right? So your
Hmm.
success, your activities are compounding over time. And when I say success is the opposite of survival, it's like you don't have to move around to survive. You can just lay in
uh,
your bed and you'll survive. You don't have to
your
eat and drink
definition is
water.
accurate when it comes to modern world and most people how they'll conduct their life in modern world. Everything is provided and it's very easy, and like things which are easy, like for example fast food or just laying in my bed and watching Netflix, and even getting depressed is very easy. Being depressed is very easy. Just lay down, be depressed, do nothing. Taking care of your mental health is like way harder, man. Yeah, I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's it's why it's so important to develop good habits, because when you make something a habit, it takes less energy, right? So
Right.
if you can make being healthy a habit, then it
Mm.
takes not a lot of energy or less energy to be healthy. And then when you're
Mm.
healthy, when you're active,
Mm.
then
Mm.
you can
Right.
use that energy for other things.
Uh, right. And later on, like I think like when I usually find, like for example, I'm right now I'm talking to you, so I might find some contradiction or some evidence which, okay, I am doing this thing wrong. So what I do is I find this word refinement. So I'm not changing my approach. I'm refining my approach. For example, I'm eating healthy. That's the thing. But how I'm eating healthy and what I'm eating can change over time. I'm letting myself, like giving myself enough freedom to change. Like obviously I'm gonna make money, but how I'm gonna make money as my understanding will grow, I'm gonna keep changing that. Maybe I'm doing a job right now, and after talking to you and after learning how your mind works, and there is a way to earn a living without working in a job. So maybe in the future, once I understand this whole thing about entrepreneurship and all that, maybe I'll refine my process of money making. But I'm not changing my uh, what I'm doing. What are your thoughts on that? Do you do something like similar, or do something totally different?
Sure, sure. I do something similar. I mean, we're all just doing our best all the time. And
That's it.
you have to you follow your focus. So if you're focused on optimizing your mental health or being productive or developing new habits or getting better at something, then you'll get
Yeah.
better at that, right? I mean, for me, it's become, almost necessary for me to develop wealth because I have people to support
Hmm.
and I have things that I want to accomplish that require capital. So you
Hmm.
have to get capital.
Hmm. So like necessity, if there is in somebody's life, if there is not came a point when it's necessary, but still the person wants to change, but it's not necessary, obviously, man. I mean, what I'm saying is the person realizes that the change is necessary, but it's not a necessity now, right now. So should he wait for the necessity, or is there another thing or something he can do about that?
Well, some people don't even do it when it is a necessity, right? That's when you end up with
That's it. Yeah.
addiction issues or people abandoning their responsibilities, right? Like lots of people
Mhm.
have children and they don't care for their children. That's a reality. So,
Yeah. From
it's
there, that place, I'm asking this question because I'm talking to a lot of people who are going through mental health crisis, or maybe addiction, or maybe wealth crisis. And what I'm seeing is, and even in this past 2 years, I've talked to hundreds of people, and those who have changed their life, they have this similarity in their story that they hit rock bottom in their life somewhere, but there is no certain place like there's no, like I can point towards like, bro, this is the rock bottom and you're gonna hit that. So how to like help people who are like, in my opinion, they are way beneath rock bottom, but they don't think like the rock bottom is like for them has came, because they are not it's not a necessity for them still.
Well, you mentioned shamanism, and a part of
Yeah.
shamanism is that like you know where people are at, like you've experienced experientially, something like
Experientially.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see someone in their rock bottom, and personally I've experienced all kinds of different things in life, right? So if
Mm.
someone's at their rock bottom, maybe I've been there before, and I can
Mm.
experience that, and I can show them, hey, I know what this is like, but then I can shift back to a mode that's, more fulfilling and productive, and then they can
Mm.
see like, all right, I'm understood, I'm seen, I'm heard, but I don't have to stay like this if I don't want to. And it's
Mm.
really not up to us what people do. So it's
Yes.
important to be an example so that they
Mm.
see that it's not that difficult, or it's not that hard, or it's unachievable. Because most people are
Mm.
walking around. I shouldn't even say most people, but I see a lot of people walking around, um, and they're not proactive. They're reactive. Like we talked about that at the beginning of our conversation, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's imperative that people realize that they can take baby steps in the right direction and start building the right habits.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
habits just one word, right? Start building the right thought processes, start doing the right actions, whatever that is for them to get what they're focusing on. And for me, a big part of my focus in my life right now is creating wealth.
Mm. And it's wealth creation is like, if wealth creation done very very ethically, it's the principles, like everything you say, it can be applied in any aspect of life. For example, the thing you were talking about, compound interest. So compound interest can also be applied to your mental health. It can also be applied to your physical health, and
Yeah,
your,
like going
you
to
have
the
also
gym.
talked about relationships and all that. Everything
Yeah,
compounds.
relationships compound. Yeah, our relationships compounding, right? We've spoken
Yes.
several times, and I really love that you're like an inquiring mind. I would say I am as well, and I look forward to having more discussions where we have the opportunity to really just go into it and see if we can explain different aspects of things, better or more
Mm.
effectively, so that if someone does hear something that they're ready to hear, right?
Uh,
Because it's you
yeah,
hear what you're ready to hear. Like that's why you read the
that's so
same
true.
books, watch the same movies, hear the same stories, and they evolve over time, right? The story is exactly the same. You're different. So,
Mm.
it's the information's been the same, for the entirety of it's universal law essentially.
Mm.
So it's not, the universe doesn't change. Stuff in it changes and you change, right?
Wow.
It's essentially, like when you go
I'm,
to the
I'm just
grocery store as a
literally,
kid.
I'm having goosebumps right now. What you just said.
Well, good. But when you go to the grocery store as a kid, you look at the candy and you look
Yeah.
at the comics, and then when you start going older, you start looking at the alcohol. And then you get older and you start looking at the fruit. You're like, man, I need me some good fruit, right? So it's
Mm.
the store is the same the whole time, but who you
That's,
are changes. What aisle are you walking down in life?
wow. Yeah.
Because you can just
What,
pick it
what,
up off the wall as long as you can afford it.
mm. What are your learnings when it comes to this word timing?
Well, I mean, I play music, right? I'm a musician. So like
Mm.
there's the right time and the wrong time to play a note. But if you're playing
Mm.
jazz, then all of it works cuz whatever, but so it's really like what are you aiming to produce? with timing? Do you want it to be something people understand? So
So
then
how do
maybe
you
use
master it?
popular music. How do you master timing?
Yeah,
I guess
as you
effort,
said, like
study and practice.
study and practice with a more sense of awareness. The more I'll become aware, the more I can hit like on that time.
Yeah, I think there's a natural rhythm that you can lock into so that you think like your heartbeat is a rhythm. So like
Yeah.
if you can think in a rhythm, you can think with it. So it's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like you can just think the rhythm and then you can come in on the three, right?
Mhm.
3, 4. And it's just knowing the rhythm of something. And then what is
Mhm.
this? What is the beat that you're following? Is it the day? Is it the traffic? Is it the noise of the city or the sound of nature? Like what rhythm are you in?
Yeah. Because hacking the timing, I think, can make a lot of things efficient and seem effortless. For example, I've seen a lot of fighters when they're fighting. So just because they are so acute when it comes to timing of their moves, they can just move like use other person's power to just drag them down. So the power, like we think like we listen to these motivational speakers and all that. We think like we have to go and like exert this amount of power and get things done and all that. But I've talking to you and also watching a lot of athletes and sports wrestlers and all that. They're in many ways they are exerting less power and doing more stuff, and that's the thing I am not able to hack. I'm just observing that and trying to learn how to do that, but it's very weird and tough.
Okay, so let's talk about sales for a second.
Yeah.
If you're a salesperson on the street, okay, so you're trying to sell watches out of your coat, okay, to
Hmm.
just people walking in the park.
Hmm.
Not everyone there is there to buy watches, okay?
Yeah.
But if you're selling watches in a Rolex store
Hmm.
and people are walking into that store with the intention of already buying a watch and the watches they want to buy are much more valuable, it's
Right.
it's a lot less effort to sell a watch in a Rolex store than on
Hmm.
the street.
Yeah, in a similar way, like I said to you, like I'm talking to a lot of people who are going through mental health struggles. So if I was a therapist and they would have came to my cabin and they were sitting in front of me, so first of all I know that they are like they in their mind they are kind of open, and because they have uh, gone beyond judgment and their own mind stopping them, and they have came to my clinic. So I know like there is a kind of timing here somewhere which is right for that person. I think like you're saying the same thing.
Well, you're talking a lot about other people and helping them.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
talking kind of more from a like helping yourself. Right? The best way to help someone else, like my answer was to kind of show them how to go from them to you,
Hmm.
right? Because you can't show people how to be better than you are,
Hmm.
So you have to just be the best you can be and then
And
show
then things
that
happen.
to everyone and people see it and they
uh,
think, well, if well, you and me were standing in the same area,
hmm.
we have the feet are in the same boots on the same ground,
Hmm.
and you're able to do this, and I'm not doing that right now. What's the difference? And it's
uh,
study and
okay.
practice, right? Knowledge and experience.
Hmm. Hmm. So, in a way you're saying like don't when it, whenever when it comes to that, don't focus on other people's, just focus on setting an example and let them live their lives in their own way, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's what free will's all about, right? People are free to do whatever. I mean,
Hmm.
with in whatever society they're in or whatever rules they have, but
Hmm.
you have choices you have to make, and then you have
Yeah.
to deal with the consequences of those choices.
Hmm. That's one thing like which is hard to understand for people. The thing about timing and compound interest, it's very hard to understand when you're in the valley, when you're climbing the mountain and you're on the middle of the mountain, or maybe you're at the top. You can see what has transpired or what has manifested, but when you're in the valley, it's very hard to see that, like, how doing 10 push-ups a day are compounding for years and years. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if at that state of mind that I do 10 push-ups or I don't, I invest money or I don't, so it doesn't make sense there.
Yeah, I think the main factor in compounding is getting started.
Hmm. And see it
Once you get
happening, right?
started, once you
Hmm.
get started, then you're off, and then you can't really lose it. Like you never forget how to ride a bike, so just get
Yeah.
started really young.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, even in my own journey, like, when first of all knowing this concept is a big thing, so I can see it out there. So when I understood this concept of compounding a little bit, then after taking action for a while, I started seeing this thing in many many aspects of my life, that okay, this thing is real. It's really compounding, and it's not 2 plus 2 plus 2, it's like 2 into 2 into 2. So it's totally weird. Like, I think like our human mind is, our human brain is not designed to understand compounding.
No, that's why, you need to have other people in your experience that you can look and see a contrast.
Hmm. This was fun, man. Anything else is coming in your mind? I
No,
can
but
go on and on.
well, I was thinking that we would do like a regular thing.
Okay.
This didn't take
What
a
do you
lot of
have in mind?
effort.
Like, what? Please pardon?
This didn't take a lot of effort.
Yeah. You're thinking about doing
So
this
one
for
of the
regularly?
yeah, I like to do things on a regular basis and making them a habit, you know.
Uh,
And you're talking about effort, and it's like, um, how much effort did this take, and like who knows what the effect will be. And like, I enjoyed it, right?
yeah.
For me, it's the beginning of my day here,
Hmm.
right? So this is like a nice way to start my day. My kids are still asleep,
Yeah. That's okay.
and maybe we can provide some value to someone else.
Hmm.
Like when we wrap this up, I'm going to share it, and people can watch if
Yeah.
they want. Maybe they'll get something from it. I think, you're asking a lot of good questions, and I'm trying to make
Hmm.
very clear statements. I hope people can really hold on to.
Yeah, we can do it certainly for a while and see what happens, how's the response and everything. Yeah.
Maybe it'll
I'm
compound,
all
right?
in.
We already got started.
Uh,
You never know what's going to
the
happen. I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's so true. It's a weird thing. Like, you have to let it flow, as they say, like, go with the flow.
Go with the
At the
flow.
same time, at the same time, improve your understanding and improve your thinking. I'm talking
So who
to
knows?
all
Like,
those. I'm talking to all these healers and teachers and all that, and I'm uh, this whole while since past 2 years I'm listening all sorts of contradictory statements. And the weird thing, like I want to, like maybe somebody is listening or watching. The weird thing is it all works. For them, it's working, and it's like it's the nature of reality which I've understood in past 2 years. Is nature of reality in itself is very contradictory. So if somebody is giving some advice, maybe the opposite of that advice is also true. It's all about the context of the information. So every information, even in these talks also, when me and Alec will be talking, so everything is contextual. So whatever you're grabbing and whatever information is coming your way, try to think that is this is applicable in my context or not. Because just saying that okay, he's talking bullshit, or okay, he's saying right, it will not work. It's applicable in your context or not. That's the thing.
was that a question?
No, no. I'm just like the person who's gonna watch these live feeds. I'm just giving a kind of how I listen to people and how I just try to go on and find these. Obviously, I'm not making much decisions in my day-to-day basis, but once in a while I'll just go out and I'll find someone who just think opposite of what I think, and I'll try to understand that person, and I'll just try to expand my own thinking, listening, and maybe talking to that person, and it helps a lot because you start to see all sorts of perspectives. And I think it makes the world more peaceful in a long term basis when you understand other person, even if you don't agree with that person. You can see from his perspective how the world works, and maybe learn something from him as well in the process.
And there's a lot of people.
There's so many people,
There's you could never
especially right
talk to
now.
anyone.
And yeah, and like one of the posts you did on Facebook, like just, and this is also the one thing which I have realized in past few years is just ask, man. Just ask. Why are you not asking? And I'm saying to myself, like, why are you not asking? Just ask that, like, no matter the person is rich, no matter he's famous, no matter, if you will ask, there is a chance that he will reply or he will give you something which you're asking for. So having this audacity for asking is very important.
Ask and you shall receive, right?
Yeah, just ask.
You have to ask. You get not because you ask not.
Yeah, and it's the most profound advice I have gotten. I don't know from where I got, but uh, the person was like, ask. In one word, like what's the best advice you have for me? Ask. Just ask. What do you want? Ask. Say it out in the, like, when you're sleeping, just say everything, like I want this to the universe. Maybe it will, in a very magical and very weird way, it will come across.
Or
Like
maybe
I'm
just a
sitting,
very
like look at me, man.
straightforward way.
I'm sitting in a small city in India. Okay, I'm not successful. I'm nothing, but I'm talking to you, and it's totally weird. And you have manifested in my life from somewhere. I don't know why. I've just asked.
Well, do you remember how we met?
uh, I sended you an invite. We met on a Facebook group, maybe. Yeah, yeah. We met on a Facebook group. I just asked there on a Facebook group for a guest who is very serious and who wants to help people and all that. And then we met after that, and then that our podcast just came into the universe. We created that, and after we created another podcast, which is live on my channel. Yeah. And then we have talked a lot of crazy insights, a lot of crazy ideas since then.
Well, I really appreciate the little clips that you send me.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, it's a way for me. Like for example, I've talked to you, right? So this whole conversation, it's right now it's of 40 minutes, right? So you have said all sorts of crazy stuff, and many of that has seeped into me. But I know, I'm aware, lots and lots just my mind has rejected, because we are in this flow and we are just playing a kind of a tennis match. So my mind is rejecting a lot of information. So I'm very well aware, and when I'm creating those clips, so that's one of my hack to just go back and, because when I'm editing, so I have to listen to that on repeat, right? So I just absorb what you're saying while like creation. So it's a win-win. Win for me, win for you, win for the person, like the audience.
Well, I do hope that more and more people start to pay attention to some of the things that we're talking about because it's very subtle.
That's you say
You know,
something,
there's a lot of people.
and
There's a lot of
what you
people
have
that
said. Yeah, yeah, go on,
there's
go on, go
there's a lot of people that you know when they have a minute, they just drink a beer.
on. Yeah.
So how do you use your time is really important, right? And there's nothing wrong with
Hmm.
having a beer. Nothing wrong with it, right? But how are
Yes.
you using your time?
Hmm. Yeah. Same with when it comes to wealth creation. So there is nothing wrong with buying a Rolex, but how are you buying that? Are you right? I think similar in a similar way we can allocate time as well. Like having that beer, I'm having that after like working like so many days. I'm working very hard and all that, and now it's like necessary for my mental peace and my, like, to be sane. Sometimes there have been time in my life just to be sane, there I have to intoxicate myself at that point of time. Later on, when I understood that I don't need that anymore, but there was a point where I had to. Although one can argue that there must have been a better way, but I was not that intelligent to know a better way. So there can be a like those moments where you can just chill out.
Yeah, I mean, look at like Drake or Rihanna. You know, they're always
Mm.
drinking, and they seem to be doing
Mm.
okay, right?
Yeah. Yesterday only I was having a conversation about smoking weed with my friends. So there was a thing, like I said, like I've heard from many successful people, like smoking weed just messes up with your decision making. So that's why many people have stopped consuming that, because when they are going in meetings and they are dealing with millions of dollars, so they want to be in their 100% alertness and 100% awareness. So, but my friend was like, man, it makes me more decisive, it makes me more creative, and it makes me more aware of the world and all that. Like it has all sorts of benefits for me and many people as well. So yeah. What do you think about weed?
I like it. I think it's had a really important role in my life, especially as a younger guy. You know, it
Yeah.
it like makes you feel okay, like things are okay,
Mm.
and we live in a kind of confused world. you know, where a lot of
Mm.
times things don't seem okay.
Mm.
So if anything can make you feel okay, as you should, you should be like everything's okay.
Yeah.
That's how you should feel. So anything that
Mm.
can make you feel that way, I think is positive. Now,
I don't know. I like.
what you're saying is you don't need it
Yeah.
to
I
feel
don't need it
okay.
anymore, but I needed it earlier just to stay alive. When you gotta stay alive, you don't have to, like, you should not kill yourself and you should not kill other people's. And weed helps that in that a lot. Yeah, if it works for you, and like that's what I said. Like in certain kind of context, everything works. Villains can be heroes in a context. If you put in the right context, it can be that.
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things people forget is that it's okay to fucking have a bad day or whatever,
Hmm.
or a bad season.
One of the reason is because we are always on social media and people usually share their exciting moments, and we are seeing that, and we think like there has to be this streak of good days for years and years. And it's kind of, when I talk to my younger brothers and sisters, so they are very frustrated when they are having a bad day or when they're getting sick. And I don't used to get that much frustrated. I'm like, okay, we are gonna take medicine and all, and we keep moving on. If we have to take rest, we are gonna take rest. But we don't have to get depressed and anxious just because got sick, or just because I failed, or just because I'm not able to get something done right now because I don't have the capability. So I don't have to hate my life like I'm not supposed to live or something like. But many people are feeling like that. Like for example, that's why they hate on rich people, right? Because hating is very easy. Because they are hating on, like, on their life as well. Okay, I can't do that, and that person is doing that, so he must have done something unethical, and to get all that, it's coming from the same place.
Well, people are reacting. They're
Mm.
reacting to stuff that they've seen other people react that way before. So
Uh,
they're
This is so
emulating
profound,
behavior
man.
they know is acceptable. They want to be acceptable, and if it's acceptable to say and feel and do something, then that's
uh,
what they'll do.
wow, because this is the only way they know. Like, and thinking is hard, so they don't want to think for themselves. They're like, okay, this is the proper way to think about rich people, so I should also like think that way. At least I'm in a group and I'm supported. Don't have to stand alone.
Yeah, because it's easy to do stuff that's efficient, and it's efficient to
Mhm.
just accept what other people are doing because you want to be with other people. That's important to feel connected to people,
Mm.
right? The
Mm.
difference now is that we have the ability to connect with people all over the world,
Yeah.
and we have access to information from all over the world.
Mm. Yeah, it's never been easier to go out there and find your tribe. Yeah. You don't have to just be in your own, like for example, the way I am living my life, like nobody's around me is are thinking the things I'm thinking, not analyzing their life, not having any vision or anything for their life, and I'm just struggling because I'm the only one here, and everyone is like this, eating shit, drinking shit, talking shit, and just speaking shit, hanging out with shit, and then wondering that like why my life is shit.
It's
So
one of those like ask not what people can do for you, but what you can do for others, right?
mhm,
So it's like you have like a responsibility to those people
right.
to contrast what they'll just accept because it's habitual, right?
Hmm.
So you can relate to them. You've done it before yourself, I'm sure. Just,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
uh so how do you elevate the people around you by elevating yourself? How do you elevate
Mhm.
yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like that's one thing like what I have realized, like I don't have to help anybody. I just have to help myself. And what, like, create, like for example creating this podcast and talking to these people and all that, it's all the byproduct, because I worked on my healing, I worked on my own trauma, and I healed. So I was talking with all these people, so just an idea popped up in my head, like why not just go out there and connect with these people. We'll record a call and I'll create a format and I'll just put it out there. Wow, this is so cool. Live with StreamYard. Can't we put our names there? Live with Alec or live with Shan, Alec and
Uh
Shan.
Probably. I have to upgrade the service.
Yeah.
This is a
Also, I
new
think like
service
this.
for me.
Yeah. I think you. Also, I think like there is some. There must be some feature there to just mirror my image, because if I'll do my hair will be like this. When I'm doing it like this, so it will be like this. So, so in the middle of the conversation, I'll be like, "Oh man, what happened?" There must be some feature to remedy this problem, because I have this habit of doing this all the time.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. How has been your hair? Show me your hair. They were, wow, amazing, man. You're still a rock star underneath, you know that. Underneath the entrepreneur, there is still a rock star.
Well, I think entrepreneurs are the new rock stars, bro. Everyone wants to be a CEO now.
Yeah. It's a it's an act of creativity which most people don't understand. Most people see the limelight and all that, but most people don't understand that true entrepreneurs, in their real sense, they're artists, and their canvas is kind of society. So they're designing society as our artist designs on a canvas. So the entrepreneur is working on society, and they're like just manipulating and designing all sorts of stuff and elevating all sorts of stuff in society, solving all sorts of problems and whatnot. So it's the coolest thing. I think like the people, as they are aspiring to be an entrepreneur, it's a very nice thing, and it is something to like be aspirational about. Like we should aspire to solve problems and just like try to attempt, like as I am attempting to just generate your livelihood from providing as much as value as you can to society.
Value is the
What do
key
you?
there.
Yeah. Although like there was, you got time? How much time do you have?
Yeah, let's do another five
Yeah, because we
minutes, I
can go
guess.
on and on. Another 5 minutes. All right. Uh, you said earlier in our one of our conversation that savings is not the solution, and one should not save money. So can you talk, like can you uh, Save, no, no, no. You didn't say that. I'm saying it wrong. You said like saving money will not make you rich. You said that. Like saving money will not make you rich. So are you saying that one should not save money, or are you saying that one should not keep the money in their bank as form of savings? One should allocate that money. What are you saying exactly?
Well, it's important that people shift from I'm going to keep this nest egg to I'm going to grow this nest egg. So, like, some people should have money, like if something goes wrong, like you got to change the brakes in your car, you should have the $2,000 it costs or whatever it is to do something like that. But don't expect uh, to be an entrepreneur and do that, right? Like your money can make a difference. You can change society. You can paint on the canvas of society with money. How you spend your
Mm,
money makes a difference, right? If you tip your waitress, that makes a difference. If you
mm,
go to your local business and spend $10,000, it makes a big difference.
right.
So it really does matter. Like companies like Amazon exist because they're making a little difference for a lot of people, and it
Mm,
adds up.
yeah. So you're saying like just don't keep your money, do something with it. Simply
Just use it
just
to,
don't
to make
earn
a
and keep
difference, to
that.
create value.
Use it. Mm, uh, yeah, and that value can be created like for yourself and also for the others. Like yesterday only I was reading this book on it's by Gautam Bade, and the name of the book is The Joys of Compounding. It's a fabulous read, and the half of the book is about uh, learning, how lifelong learning can make you wealthier in all sorts of ways. And it's about like how to learn, as you have also said earlier, like learn how to learn. So the half of the book is about how to learn, and the rest of the book is about investing, which I can't understand. So I've just read half of the book. So yeah, it's a fabulous book, and it also like it starts with maybe a sentence or a quote from Warren Buffett, and he says the best investment you can make is in yourself. That's the best investment you can make. So I think the value that money can be allocated in all sorts of ways to create value for society, to solve society's problems, and it can also be allocated in ways so you can solve your own problems. And you are very nice at that. You have all sorts of coaches and whatnot, and people hesitate hiring these coaches because they don't, for some reason they don't want to get help, or they don't want to look like they want help, so they hesitate. And I'm also very good at that because that I'm also like weekly, on a weekly basis, I'm talking to new people, talking to new coaches, getting their insights, applying. So money can be allocated that way as well. You just don't have to keep that in the bank and let it rot there. That's okay. We're gonna talk this way now.
I think the key is for people to do something, and if your money's just sitting there, it's not doing something, and you can get something done. Um, we'll do this again soon, maybe really soon, and I really
Hmm.
appreciate you giving me an hour of your time. I had a great
What will be
time
your final
talking with
three
you.
words? If you have to say something in 3 words, if you have to say something in 3 words, what will be your final 3 words? Like a tagline.
Well, I'm going to steal the other one. And ask and receive.
Wow. Yeah. It's a nice and the best way to end this conversation. Just Ask.
You have a great day, bro.
Yeah, you too, bro. And see you soon.
Bye.
Let me know how we are gonna take this forward. Bye bye. Take care.